All right, so today I'm under the hood of the F-150. This is going to be our son's truck. We've done a few little videos here and there on this truck. Long story short, we did, I don't really call it a restoration, but we basically went through this truck and kind of got it back to where it should be, took the full interior out, cleaned all the carpet, reupholstered the seats, went through the engine, tuned it up fully, got it running like it's supposed to be, serviced the whole truck front to back, changed all the fluids, just kind of got the truck back to where it should be. And then finally, my dad knows a guy, he knows a lot of guys, and able to get a fresh coat of paint on this truck too. So it looks pretty good now. For a nearly 20-year-old truck, it's a pretty nice truck now. Should be great for a first-time driver. Having said that, it's a nearly 20-year-old truck. It's got 220,000 miles on it, and you're going to have some things that are going to go bad from time to time. So my wife and I, about a month ago or so, we took this truck to church. We went through the automatic car wash on the way there. Everything was fine. As we pulled out of the car wash, I heard this terrible grinding noise, and immediately I knew that it was the front wheel hubs. They're trying to engage, but they can't quite engage the splines, and so you get that terrible grinding noise. And usually when that happens, the problem is over here on the firewall, this integrated wheel end module, or solenoid, whatever you want to call it. So this little IWE thing over here, as you can see from the factory, doesn't have any kind of shield or covering on it. It's just wide open, exposed to the elements. So you go through a heavy rain, heavy thunderstorm, or in our case, we went through a car wash, and the water blasting on this thing caused it to malfunction. So I'm going to bring the camera over and show you this thing and the fix for it. So again, you're going to come over here to your passenger side firewall and look down in here behind your battery, and here's the culprit right here. And like I said, you can see this one doesn't have any kind of hood or shield or anything over it or around it. So water and everything can just blast that little module down there and cause it to go bad. So there are a few companies that make replacements that have a hood, shield, whatever you want to call it, around the module. This is one of them I got from Dorman. There's the part number on this. Again, this truck's a 2005 F-150, but I'm betting that this same part probably fits a lot of model years. And, it should pretty much be plug and play. And like I said, once this one is mounted up there to the firewall, it'll have some protection from having water run down in it. Because what kind of happens is you can see how this cowl is designed, and so the rainwater comes over, or car wash water, and runs right down on top of this thing. So hopefully with this one having that hood on it, it should be good to go. So I just got to pop this thing out of here, and we'll take a look at it and make sure all the connections are exactly the same and go from there. Now, what I noticed fooling around with this thing a little while ago was that there's a plastic tab right here, and so what you want to do is gently push that back, and then this thing will come out like that. You can see the tab right here. That's how the factory one attaches. And then when you put it back in, obviously you just push it in and pull it up. But we're not going to put this one back in. We're going to use this style, and it looks a little bit different on the back, so we're going to check this out and improvise here. So with the old one off, you can tell that they are exactly the same connections, same provisions. So we're good to go on that part. So after looking at this, obviously what they intend for you to do is just to take that factory bracket off and then reuse those studs and nuts to put this new Dorman piece on, because that bracket, the holes in it match up with the factory bracket. So obviously that's what we're going to do. You got to go get a cat claw and remove that little plastic clip down here, because that's covering up the nut that's on that stud, but it shouldn't be a big deal. And if you wanted to, you could remove the battery and give yourself a little bit more room to work, but I'm going to try and do this without that. So I'm using a 10mm flex head ratcheting wrench, and that is working perfect. And what I have found is once you break these little nuts free, you don't even need the wrench anymore. You can get in there with your fingers and take them the rest of the way off. It is a little bit of a tight fit in here, so be careful when you get to the end of the thread here that you don't drop the nut. Hang on to it if you can. Got one more in here. So this is going to be nice to not have to worry about water anymore, because I mean, heck, you want to be able to go through the car wash. We've got some car washes here that are touchless car washes. They don't actually have the brushes, you know, so you don't have to worry about your paint job and all that. And sometimes it's just handy to go through there, you know, especially in the wintertime. There we go. Looks like that's going to match up perfect, as it should. So I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and put this on and mount it first before you plug anything back up. It'll be easier to do that way, I believe. There we go. Now, since this one has the hood, the shield on there, it is a little bit tighter still to get in here and put these nuts back on. So just be careful. And you know, I'm noticing here that the battery tray is in the way, actually. So I don't think that if you remove the battery, you really will give yourself much more space. Don't think it really will make that much difference at all, because this plastic battery tray right here is right in the way. But I'm getting it. Like I said, you just got to go slow and pay attention, because if you drop this little nut, there's no telling where it's going to end up down in here. You know how that goes. There's one. Now this one is going to be even trickier, because it's up against the fender and the firewall and this shield on this new module. So I can't even really get my fingers in there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go get a 10mm socket and a short little, maybe a short little extension. And I'm going to put this nut in the socket and just use that to get it started. You got to have a wrench to tighten it down, because the stud sticks out too far, unless you've got some deep well tins. But I'm going to try and just get this one started and then finish tightening it up with the wrench. Heck, while I'm over there, I'll look and see if I have a deep well tin. That might be nice. And then we can hook everything back up and test it. All right, so I actually found a deep well 10mm, so I guess I'll try to use this. So here's a little trick for you. If you want to make sure, or try to make sure, that you don't lose your nut when you're trying to do something like this, tear off a little piece of a blue shop towel and just lay it over your socket like that. And then take your nut and put it in there. This one's really tight, just like that. And now the nut won't fall out. That towel takes up just enough space that it'll hold the nut in your socket. And that way, when you're getting into a tight spot, hopefully you won't lose it. Now that I said that, I'll probably lose it anyway, but all right, here we go. We're going to try. This one is a little difficult to get to, and the problem is that once you get to it, you still have to turn it to get it started, and it's just it's not going so well. All right, and I dropped it, but I see it, which is good. So let me go get a magnet, get my socket back. Nut's still in there, so that's good. Let's try this again. Tight fit. I mean, I guess a guy could probably remove the battery tray, you know, and if I don't get it this time, I may try that, but daggone it, I hate to go to all that trouble just for one 10mm nut, you know. But, you know, sometimes what you gotta do. I just need to get this thing started, and then I'll be in good shape. All right, I think I got it. So like I said, there you go. You can try that, put a little piece of towel in there, help you out. Now I can take my tin, tighten them up, and then we can hook the vacuum lines and the electrical connection back up and try this out. So it turns out that I just got a ratchet. I'm just going to use this deep well 10 to tighten this one over here up. Whole lot easier than trying to fight with removing the battery and all that good stuff. All right, so now it's time to hook things back up. So before I hook up this electrical connection, I'm going to put a little bit of this dielectric grease in here. And actually, first thing I'm going to do, since these vacuum lines are on the bottom, I'm going to hook those up first, because they obviously are easier to get to before you hook up the electrical part of this thing. Okay, make sure it's good and snug. Don't want it to just be able to pop back off again or have a bad connection. Okay, now I'm going to put this, I think this is a windshield wiper hose right here, put it back in its provision. And I'm going to, like I said, put just a little bit of dielectric grease in here on this electrical connection for the module, four-wheel drive, solenoid, whatever you want to call it here. Just a little drop here, a little drop there, so that when I put it together, it'll spread out, you know. And that should be all there is to this. Push it in until it clicks. There we go. So it looks to me like everything is snug. And like I said, you just have to check and make sure. So now all we got to do is test it, make sure it works, and that should fix the problem long term. So the next thing that I have to fix on this truck is this door right here, because another common issue on these super cab trucks is that the doors get stuck shut. This is one of the reasons why I have never liked the super cab design on the Ford trucks. It is, in my opinion, it is stupid to do this, you know, B pillarless design with the suicide style door back here. You know, Ram did it the right way with a real door back here. I think GM even does it the right way. This design is stupid. But anyway, so these things do have a tendency to break. They've got plastic bushings at the top and at the bottom. And as you would imagine, over time, those plastic bushings get brittle and they break. And when they break, they release some tension on that cable. And so when you pull the latch, the cable will not actually disengage the door. So they do make some replacements that are made out of metal, and I got to get some of those, tear the door panels off and go in there and try to retrofit and fix that. Very annoying. But, you know, like I said, it's one of those things that you got to put up with when you have a nearly 20-year-old truck. Alright, this truck has automatic climate control, which I love. So let's see here. It is saying that there's a door open right now. Wonder which one that is. Maybe this one? Oh, I hit my head. Nope, not that one. Good grief. Now I gotta go around and try to figure out which one of these doors is partially loose. There we go. All the lights are out. Release the park brake. All right, I'll tell you what, let's roll the window down. Turn the AC off so that we can listen for the problem again. So I'm in two-wheel drive. Come on, old truck, let's go. I don't hear any grinding or anything. Let's go down over the hill here where we can put it in 4-wheel and test that. Nope, no grinding. So the way these trucks are designed is in 2-wheel drive, they actually apply vacuum to unlock the hubs. So the fact that there's no grinding or anything going on and the steering feels free tells me that that is working. So let me straighten up the truck here and we'll go to 4 high. Indicator light on the dash is on. And you can usually tell here, oh yeah, it's binding up. You can feel it binding up in the steering wheel. Okay. Go back to 2 high. Indicator light is off. I'm just backing up here just to check something. Yeah, feels good. Feels real good. All right. So I think that fixed it. Everything is free and unlocked again normally. So there you go. So that little solenoid was fairly inexpensive and it was fairly easy to replace, and it seems like that has cured the problem. So if this thing, you get one of these trucks and it starts to grind on you and the front hubs act like they're trying to engage but they can't quite make it, obviously you want to check your vacuum lines first to make sure you didn't get one that had a tear or a pinhole or something in it. But usually your vacuum lines will be okay, and it's that little module or solenoid or whatever over there on the firewall. So like I said, you can do this at home, save yourself a bunch of money, and it seems like that is the cure for the problem. All right, another job done. We'll talk to you guys later. Man, these doors are kind of hard to, you got to give them some force. It is a pretty old truck though, isn't it? Like I said, for a 2005 model, yeah, man, that's a beautiful truck.